Welcome back to Off the Chart. It's the finale. We've made it. This is episode 10 of season 2, Generation Q.
This season, we have been watching the L Word Generation Q with you, bringing you our unfiltered take on the new series reboot every Tuesday because we still can't get enough of those LA lesbians.
I'm Erica Lenti, senior editor at Xtra, and I want to do shots with Gigi's family.
And I'm Chelle Turingan, managing producer at Xtra, and Tibet's got me feeling some kind of way.
Ooh, good way, bad way, all of the above.
For a second, please. I just can't believe that this is going to be the thing that takes us down after everything that we've been through.
This is exactly what you wanted. I hope you're happy. I am sorry.
Okay, Chelle, a lot of storylines wrapping up, a lot not wrapping up, as per the L Word way. But what themes stuck out to you this episode?
Well, I think Angie said it best, that life is too short, and so we gotta make big moves. And a lot of big moves were made in this season finale. We see Sophie finally move out so that she can stop enabling Finley, but Finley finally decides to go to rehab. Gigi wants Dani to meet her entire family. Dani chooses not to testify for her father and gets arrested for contempt of court. And of course, Bette swings really big with Tina to our dismay. So,
oh God,
a lot of big moves in episode 10.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Let's recap.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start off with the biggest storyline of the episode. Bette, Pippa, Carrie, and Tina. Everybody's talking about Tibet in this episode, and it starts with Pippa, who questions if Bette has feelings for Tina still. She denies it, but then while shopping for a wedding gift for Carrie and Tina, Shane and Alice ask the same question of Bette. That's when Shane spills the beans, which she probably shouldn't have, that Carrie is having cold feet about the wedding with Tina. That prompts Bette to then go to Alice's going away party, where she starts talking with Tina, and Carrie overhears it and has a huge reaction and just decides to end things with Tina. And as they're ending things, Pippa's also there, because of course she is. So she's not sure what's going on with Pippa. She's not sure what's going on with Tina, but we end the episode on a classic L Word cliffhanger. Tina shows up at Bette's doorstep. Of course she does. What do we think of all of this, Chelle? Because I have a lot of feelings about how the writers have handled this entire situation in one episode, but I want to hear how you feel first.
Well, okay, let's start with one good point. I will give it to the writers that the cliffhanger matches the hypothetical scenario that everyone is mentioning. Like,
if Tina was to show up at your doorstep right now,
Well, I wouldn't know because I'm here with you.
and she says, I'm in love with you, and I want to try again, what do you say?
Oh my God, what would you say?
It's a flawed premise.
Seriously?
oh, like Alice's going away party, like that whole mess in the club. Like,
Yes.
What the heck happened? Like, Bette just managed to ruin 4 lives in like 5 minutes. It's like insane. She finds the opportunity. She brings it up. Like Carrie overhears them. Carrie breaks up with Tina in a snap. Tina gets mad, and then Bette sees Pippa. It's just like, what just happened? I had to watch that scene like 3 times to be like, what is going on? Like, they jammed a lot of shit right into that scene that was super important. And like, all of that dialogue was terrible. Like,
Yes.
I just feel like they rushed through that really, really fast. So I would say like that Alice's going away party was rough. What did you think?
Yeah,
Erica?
I would. No, I completely agree. Like, there's 2 things that really sucked for me. One was like, Bette never actually said what she was thinking. She was like, Shane and Alice asked me if you would show up on my like doorstep, what would I do? And then she never actually says what she would do. Like, it's very possible that she'd be like, but I realized that, like, that's not what I want in life or something. And Carrie jumps to conclusions. No one lets anyone talk. Carrie breaks up with Tina in the middle of a going away party at a bar. Yeah, I mean, my biggest qualm about all of this is surprisingly the treatment of Rosie O'Donnell's character, Carrie, which if you had asked me before season 2 started, if I was about to be here, like, justice for Carrie, I would have been like, no way. But justice for Carrie, like, her character turned out to be so wonderful. We really loved her. I thought she was a great match to Tina. She was such an opposite to Bette, which really felt nice to see. Angie loved her. And I think most of all, which I've seen a lot of flack online already, is she was probably the only butch character on this show. Like a super butch, like, real dyke character. I just think that that's so important, and now we're losing that representation. But I do want to note that most of our viewers saw this coming, which is also probably means that the writers didn't do enough of a good job to at least give us some sort of shock or surprise in the episode. About 60% of you said that you didn't think Carrie and Tina were going to make it to the altar. Not a big surprise, I don't think. What do you think, Chelle?
No, we're not surprised. It's interesting because there were some really great comments in last episode in on the YouTube channel where people were saying in the comments that, like, it would be totally regressive of Bette and Tina to just, like, fall back into each other. Which was a comment I guess I wasn't expecting to see from, like, diehard fans. Like, we joke from episode to episode that, like, everybody loves Bette, but maybe they don't. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, people are like, no, like, people move on, people grow away from each other, like, they grow out of love. Like, to actually smash them back together is like a bad call, and it's not good character development for either of them. I feel like the writers did the cliffhanger as fan service, but maybe the fans don't actually want this.
That's possible. I mean, I don't know. How do we think this cliffhanger is going to unfold? I mean, I think that people think that it means that Bette is going to be together. I don't totally buy that the writers will just do that. Like, I think in the original series, the thing with Bette was, like, this will they, won't they, push, pull, they're together, then they're not, then they're screwing it up, then they're not, then they're together, then they love each other. Like, I think the writers keep wanting to play at that, but I think after 6 seasons of the original show and now 2 seasons of the reboot, like, I kind of don't need that anymore. I've kind of grown past it. I thought it was interesting that Bette never really said what she was trying to say to Tina when Carrie interrupts, and then it's not really clear if she's going to the CAC show for Pippa, because it looks like she's on her way out, but then Tina's at her doorstep, so it's not clear that they're gonna, necessarily get together in season 3, which I should note, it is not renewed for season 3 yet, and I believe the ratings haven't been that great, so it's also possible that this is the end of the L-word generation Q, which would just be, like, a hot mess in itself. Like, can you imagine this being the end of the show?
Oh, it'll just be Bette screaming Tina into the void.
All right, on to Sophie and Finley. Off of last episode, it seems like it's probably time for Finley to get some serious help, and our main cast agrees. They all decide to host an intervention for Finley. She's pretty clueless as to what's going on, but when she finally catches on, she's like, no way, I don't need this. She continues drinking. Sophie is not having it anymore. She decides to move out for her sake. So then Finley goes on a bender, comes out of a club in the middle of the day, and then she realizes, actually, I probably do need to go to rehab. So she goes to rehab courtesy of Alice's dollar, I should say, some very fancy LA rehab. So it looks like Finley's finally getting some help. We still don't know what exactly is at the root of her drinking. But I'm curious what you thought about the whole intervention, the way that the episode sort of touched on drinking. Chelle, what did you think of that?
Well, I will say that like the intervention coming in hot right off the top of the episode was maybe the strongest scene in the episode.
We're worried about you.
We found a place that we think can help.
I'm not going.
I did think it was interesting that we have Tess, who is also a recovering alcoholic, who is sober, who is kind of helping to guide some of the conversation there, and to reinforce to Sophie, as we saw in episode 9, that like, we all love her, but if we let her continue acting this way, then we're just enabling her. So it was really interesting to see some of that perspective. What did you think of the intervention?
Yeah.
Erica?
Tess is, a gem on this show. Consistently one of the best characters. So I agree with you there. I think that this season in particular has had an interesting way of handling drinking. But we had that weird thing with Carrie in like episode 8, I think it was, where she gets really drunk. Shane mentions that she saw Carrie at like a meeting, an AA meeting, and she's like, no, it was for overeating. But we never really get clarity on whether Carrie has a drinking problem, which I just want to shout out to AV Club, who pointed this out as well. And the other thing that the AV Club had pointed out in their review of this episode was that the shot of Finley being taken to rehab by Sophie is like juxtaposed with Dani and Gigi doing shots with her family, which we'll talk about later. But like, I don't think they purposefully did that. It didn't seem like they were trying to send some kind of message through that. It just felt kind of careless. So I think that the show is really grappling and trying to do the right thing here, but they don't always, and they sometimes have these, lapses in writing or lapses in the way scenes are backed onto one another. So I didn't love that. I want to talk about Sophie and Finley's relationship next, though. This relationship has been interesting throughout the season. We haven't really loved it. What do you think now that we're at the finale? We finally have a scene where it seems like Finley's trying to take care of herself. What do you make of the two of them together?
Oh gosh, I have a lot of mixed feelings about these two. Like, I really bought their chemistry in season 1. And it's interesting to me that in season 2, when they're finally together, I don't buy their chemistry. Finley, storms in on Sophie's wedding and ruins it. Sophie like declares her love at a karaoke night, on stage, which is kind of like horrifying. And then you've left this really long-term relationship to be in a relationship with essentially someone who was your former like coworker, who was maybe just around, and like you had a particular kind of relationship and you were still trying to get to know each other. And then all of a sudden you're having to deal with this person going through a very serious moment, right? Like Finley needs help. When Sophie was like, in the intervention, was like, it all seems to be happening really fast, I was like, word, yeah, it is. What did you think, Erica?
Yeah, completely agree. I think that we've said it so many times in the course of the season, like these two really needed to be alone. And I don't think that putting them in a relationship together helped them grow in any particular way. I said last episode, I was grateful that Sophie didn't feel like a cure-all for Finley, but that kind of feeling kind of resonated with me when she was dropping her off at rehab. Like, Finley came out of the club and was like, I love Sophie and I need to go to rehab. Like, that was sort of the vibe I got. And I'm like, oh, like, do it for yourself, dude. Like, you are worth, getting better for on your own. You don't need somebody to do that. I genuinely think these two have been through so much trauma over the past, like, God knows how long, that they really need time apart. And maybe Finley being in rehab will give her time apart and they'll be better. But I really wish that they had been on their own. And I know this is the L word, and I know that we're all watching for the relationship drama, but this wasn't fun to watch.
I mean, I'd love to see a season 3 where the two of them are single. Like, I would love to see a season 3 where Finley is like in rehab and we figure out why the hell she's drinking in the first place. Like, I think the writers have done Finley dirty. You know what I mean? Like, I said this a couple of episodes back. Finley was such an interesting character in season 1, like, and we really felt empathetic for her. And in season 2, like, she was just a hot mess that we were embarrassed for. So, like, justice for Finley, and like, it makes Sophie just like, just her counterpart. Like, Sophie has this career, she's her own person, and she ends up just, as she said, like, being Finley's babysitter. Like, these two are characters that deserve like their own storylines away from each other. So if there is a season 3, that's what I would love to see.
Majority of you guys thought that these two would not make it to the finale. You're wrong. I just hope that if there is a season 3, these two come out more developed if they have to be together. All right, on to Dani and Gigi. Dani has to testify for her dad in court, but once she goes into the courtroom, she's absorbing all the awful details about what her dad's pharmaceutical company has done and is responsible for. She has a panic attack. Gigi takes her out. She decides to leave instead of testifying, which is a big no-no. Anyway, Gigi's like, come meet my family. It's all good. She goes to a restaurant for dinner. Everything seems to be going well. And then the cops show up and arrest her for contempt of court, because that's what happens when you don't testify. I feel like we're about to see Dani's like jailhouse Helena from the original series era. Like, that's what I'm vibing here. What did you make of all of this in this episode, Chelle?
Well, we all know that Dani looks good in a suit. She'll probably look good in an orange jumpsuit too. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why Dani like wants out.
Just testify. You tell them the truth. You tell them I'm innocent.
Are you?
I think she's been beholden to her father her entire life. Like, her mother passed when she was very young. Like, her father is all she has, right? She had to do that family duty until she realizes, like, my dad is actually awful and I can't do this. So it makes sense to me that she would walk away. Like, let's just say props to Gigi for being like the best girlfriend ever, or yelling at Papa Dani's lawyers to be like, can you just be human for a moment? Like, look at her, she's a mess. They just let her leave and then arrested her right away. But of course, we want to see the drama. So what's more dramatic than getting arrested when you're meeting your girlfriend's family for this first time? I'm proud of Dani for standing up for her own core values and saying no. But like, I kind of think it's unfair that she like goes to jail for his sins. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's pretty amazing to me how much our opinion, and I think larger public opinion, of Dani has shifted. I've really loved watching Dani sort of lose everything and build herself back up. I've said that's what I wanted from her this season, and she did it. I also think what I love about Dani and Gigi is that Dani is building her character and coming into her own despite dating somebody. Gigi has not become the center of Dani's universe. She still very much stands on her own as a character. And I think in the same way that Bette, Shane, and Alice can stand on their own without a romantic partner, Dani is one of the only characters of the reboot that now has that. We know who she is. We understand what her motivations are, and those motivations aren't tied to a romantic relationship. And I love that. Gigi has been a shining star this season. I am like so grateful for her character. She has brought levity and humor and also some like incredible sex scenes that we cannot ignore. I love her character so much. I think that her and Dani are actually quite a good match. On Twitter, 95% of you hoped that Dani and Gigi would be endgame, but on Instagram, it was 50-50. So there's some divisiveness there. What do you hope to see from Dani and Gigi in a potential season 3, Chelle?
Right. I think it's interesting that like you're still not sure if you buy it. I think mid-season I was with you, and as we've been going from episode to episode and really seeing their relationship grow, I'm a fan of this ship. It has all the parts. You know, they have physical chemistry, but they also have good communication. They have this unspoken understanding, having a shared cultural references. They seem really well suited in a lot of ways. Gigi is incredibly supportive during Dani's moment at the trial. It's just really stands up for her, yells at the lawyer. That's what you want from a partner, like someone who's gonna, despite whether or not that was a good idea for Dani to leave, Gigi's like, oh, I'm here to support Dani, whatever she wants. So I'm kind of loving the ship. I'm with Twitter on this one. Who are you with?
I would agree. I do think they're probably one of the best relationships we've seen. If we could see more of Micah and Maribel, I might feel the same about them as well. The show just neglects two of its most interesting characters for some reason. I don't know why. Writers, what are you doing? But yeah, if I had to choose of sort of the core reboot characters, Dani and Gigi would probably be my number one ship. Anything with Gigi is kind of great. I've realized she is by far the MVP of season 2. Thank God we had her. All right, on to Alice and Tom. Alice is throwing her own going away party, of course, as she heads on a 12-week book tour. She gets a little bit bummed out when she sees that she has a bad review in the New York Times. But then she feels a little better because she's on a bestseller list. Jenny Schechter is 100% rolling in her grave at this news. But then as Tom and Alice head out on the tour, they're on their flight, and Alice ends up finding a ring in Tom's pocket. I am kind of shocked. I was reading a timeline on Autostraddle of this season. It's only been 2 months. What have they been together? 3 weeks? What do you think is going on here, Chelle? I'm bewildered.
I mean, for the cis straight guy, he's this is a lesbian move to
it really is.
The engagement ring. I was like, what? What? Like you said, they've only been dating for a few weeks. They've been on how many dates? It's oh my God, what is it with everyone on this show just moving at lightning speed? I love Tom, don't get me wrong, but the engagement ring threw me off a little bit. What did you think when you saw that?
My guess is that it's a red herring. I think Tom was I guess he broke up with someone not too long ago. Maybe he was planning on proposing and it just happened to be in his pocket. I don't know. It would be super gay of him to propose after a few weeks of dating. I know they got deep in the Dana chapter, but I think they have a lot more to learn about each other. But I will say, I completely echo Shane's comment about Tom, which was she's never liked a man more than him before. True. I've never liked a man on this show more than Tom. I love them as a couple. I think they're really cute. I hope they don't ruin them. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Alice planning a wedding could be really fun.
Oh, that would be a fun wedding.
Yeah, that could be a really fun thing to watch.
What would they have for dinner? Lobster?
Oh my God. No, he's allergic.
I know.
Okay, Chelle, I'm sorry, but we have to move on to Shane and Tess. These two are loved up. Everything is going well. But as we know, in the words of Robert Frost, nothing gold can stay for any lesbian on the L Word. Tess has decided that she needs to move to Las Vegas to be with her mom, understandably. And she asks Shane to move with her. Shane is like, I have my roots in LA. I can't leave. I've got Dana's, lots going on. And we kind of leave it there, but Shane and Tess do admit that they love each other, which is lovely. I just don't know why no one can be happy on this show. Chelle, how are you feeling? I feel like you must be taking this pretty hard.
Well, I mean, it wasn't the poker game, Erica, that like caused their end. I don't know. It's just like right at the beginning of the episode when they're like post-coital in bed, they're like, or actually maybe mid-coital in bed. They're like, why don't we try like a long distance thing? LA's not far, flights are fast, and like these people are supposed to be ballers. Like if they can, get to LA and Las Vegas quite often, like why was that option taken off the table so quickly? Like they talked about it for a hot minute and then it just like disappeared.
Yeah, well, that might be over before it even begins. What happened?
Yeah, what'd you do?
Actually, I did nothing. She's just moving back to Vegas.
To that point, doesn't Shane in the very first episode of the reboot hop off a private plane? Like, does she not have a plane that she can just like fly back and forth with her salon empire money?
Perhaps she had to give the plane up in her what's it
called?
In the divorce, right?
You're right.
So the divorce took half of her fortune away, so no access to the private jet anymore. Like Tess is able to get to Las Vegas and back quite frequently, as we've seen from episode to episode. It seems like she's going to see her mom every week. Why they can't do that together is beyond me. Like it felt really like lazy to me on the writer's part to just be like, okay, the end. I mean, we do know that Jamie Clayton will be playing Pinhead for the new Hellraiser. So maybe she won't be able to come back if there even is a season 3. But this was my favorite ship, so I'm sad to see it break up.
Look, I think that Shane McCutcheon can fly economy and go see she can go see Tess in Las Vegas. This is a stupid plot point. I completely agree with you, Chelle. If there is a season 3, make it long distance. You know how many lesbians have long distance relationships? Like, it'll work. I promise it'll work. Okay, last but of course not least is Angie. So she has decided she is not going to go to Marcus's funeral. She doesn't think it'll be right. She never met him. But Kayla asks her to hang out. It turns out that Kayla took her list of questions and got all of her family members to answer it for Angie. So Angie, Jordy, and Kayla all sit at the park and go through the questions, and it's just such a sweet moment. And then we end the episode with Bette revealing that Marcus had left a portrait called Her for Angie, which is such a beautiful tribute and memorial to Marcus. I don't have much to say about this beyond the fact that it was wonderful and beautiful, and Jordan Hall continues to be an incredible actress. She's just so wonderful, and I can't wait to see her in more roles outside of this show. Chelle, did you have any additional thoughts?
Yeah, like I know that you said Gigi was the MVP of season 2, but I'm gonna have to say that it's Jordan Hall. It's Angie Porter-Kennard. She really is the best actress on this show. She had to deal with a lot for her little queer teenage heart, and she handled it with maturity and grace, and like she was just so raw and honest in all of her performances. And particularly in this episode, like her scenes with Kayla and Jordy were so beautiful.
Your mom brought by the questions to the hospital, and I went around and had my family answer them.
Oh my God. Oh, you did not have to do that. Dude, thank you so much. Can
People had the best stories.
Really?
Yeah.
And then again later when she's speaking with Bette, it's just like she is wise beyond her years when she, tells her mom that like she is brave and strong because she's just like her, and that like, she's telling Bette, like what she should be doing to like seize the day because life is short. It's just like, oh, Angie, you are the best, the absolute best.
Yeah, Angie stands rise up. Like, let's get a spin-off of just Angie, because I like a Euphoria type with less maybe trauma, with just Angie and Jordy kicking ass. I would 100% watch that over a season 3, to be honest.
Me too.
All right, it is our favorite moment of the podcast for the last time this season. It's the superlatives round, where we crown our best and sometimes worst moments of the episode. Chelle, what's your pick this week?
Well, I don't have a worst. I never did. And especially for this episode, my best use of fine art definitely has to be Marcus Allen Wood's piece, Her, which is gifted to Angie. It's just like, it's just such a beautiful piece, by the way. Like what a gorgeous painting. I would love to have that hanging in my place. And just like what a lovely way for Angie to remember Marcus. Like, I just thought that was beautiful. What was your pick?
100% agree with you. In order to not also pick an Angie best moment, I've decided to go with best quote of the episode, which was Tom pointing to the magazine spread in which Alice has told the world about their relationship, and he's like, I'm gonna have to tell my mom what cis means. I just loved it so much. He's actually like such a dope straight male character, and for this show that is such a rarity. So hats off to the writers for having some fun with him. And our top comment of the week comes from Benne G on YouTube, who said, Bette could move on if the writers would let her. If Tina and Bette get back together, this show will lose more than it gains. Bette is the most fascinating character on this show, but when you pair her with Tina, you only get Bette at like 40%. I really hope we get a scene with Bette and Tina letting each other go. Oh my God, I totally agree with you. Bette and Tina are they're Bette and Tina, but when you get Bette on her own and she's crying at art and she's screaming into the void, she is just the best. I loved seeing her with Pippa finding passion this season. So I hope you're right. I hope we do see, if there is a season 3, the two of them letting each other go and just continuing to co-parent their awesome daughter together. So thank you for commenting, and I completely agree with you.
Now, those were our picks from episode 10, but we want to hear your thoughts on this episode and on the entire season too. We read every single message that you guys write for us. You've brought some really interesting thoughts to the forefront. So please continue commenting, and be sure to sound off below.
Okay, that's it for this episode and for season 2. Oh my God, I can't believe it's already over. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. It's been an absolute blast. I'm Erica Lenti.
And I'm Chelle Turingan. Off the Chart Generation Q is produced by Chelle Turingan. Our technical producer is Lido House. Our executive producer is Rachel Giza, and our music is by Kid Coolit.
Now, if you like what you are hearing and seeing, and you want us to come back for season 3, do all the things. Subscribe on YouTube, give us a like, comment down below. You can find us and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Xtra Magazine.
Oh, it's been such a blast recapping with you, Erica. And with all of you, our loyal audience, this has been a real passion project, and it warms my heart knowing that you come back every week to watch us talk about our favorite LA lesbians. So thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, we will see you if season 3 arises. Thank you so much for all of your views and comments. It's been an absolute pleasure. You can find me on Twitter at Erica Lenti, and Chelle is at Chelle Turingan. Let us know what you think and keep in touch. We'll be here. Until next time.
Bye.
See ya. Belle,
Bye,
we're almost
Belle.
done the podcast. Oh.
Belle, what was your favorite part of season 2?